Christmas, everybody. I'm here this Sunday afternoon with two of the kids. I have Charlotte and Rikki with me, and they are in their Christmas outfits. And I had a big changing party last night with all six of them. I got them all changed into their Christmas outfits. I couldn't believe that it took me almost 2 hours to do that, just to change 6 of them. But by the time I found the shoes, the socks, and the hair bows and all that, it took that long to do it. Anyway, but I'm not going to overwhelm everybody with all 6 of them. I'm just doing it 2, so that we can continue on. And today we're starting with, I call them my little gingerbread girls, but they're in their Gymboree Christmas. From a few years ago, these collections, the little dress that Rikki is wearing is the Gymboree collection, and she has it's a knit kind of maroonish red, and the one that Charlotte has is a Dalmatian. It's the holiday line. Rikki's is the gingerbread line, but you can see the cute little Dalmatians on her corduroys, and they both have kind of a goldish headband on to pick up the other colors in it, and they have their tights and patent leather shoes, and they just look adorable in these. And I love this particular line. I found both of these sets on eBay brand new, even though they were from a few years ago, the line, and they had tags on them and everything, which always makes me the happiest. And they're with their Bosco Bear. He's Mr. Chocolate Bear. He's a Dennis Bosco Bear, and he's a designer. And we're having a lot of fun with these two girls, and I did a different video and a different setup before, but I couldn't do it with the tripod, and it just didn't come out very good. So I ended up redoing this, and I brought them out into the den where we could put them in this chair, which get some good light. Anyway, I also wanted to do a tag from Baby Wink's Nursery about singing the Christmas Carol, and I know Debbie from Mad Hatter and Wendy from Weeby Dolls both did Oh Holy Night, and they both have excellent, beautiful voices for their favorite Christmas Carol, and I love that Christmas Carol as well. I am not singing to you today, so just be very grateful for that. I am actually going to read the Christmas Carol, and it's a very different one. Many of you may not have ever heard of it, and probably our across the pond and over in Australia and different places in the world have never heard this Christmas Carol, but it's called I've Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, and it was written by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And it has some particular meaning to me. First off, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was a beloved poet, one of the most beloved poets in America history. He lived between 1807 and 1882. And he's famous for Hiawatha and different poems. And he lived, I believe, was Connecticut or Massachusetts. I'm not sure, but it was up there in New England. And he wrote this poem called The Christmas Bells, which later became a hymn or a carol, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. And it has particular meaning to me, and I think to any other American, would be the fact that when he wrote it was during the Civil War. It was in December of 1863, which was a very difficult time during the Civil War. He, of course, was in the North in the Union, and his son had recently become a lieutenant in the Union Army and was shipped off to Virginia because, as you know, the Civil War, American Civil War, was fought in the South. And at that time in 1863, the Union was fairly discouraged. It had had a couple of really good moments with Gettysburg, winning Gettysburg, which was a profound turning point during the war, and Vicksburg. However, they were still losing so many men. The South would not concede or surrender. And so it just kept going on and on and on, and they just kept losing more and more men. And if you were shot during that time, you might as well say goodbye to whatever limb, your leg, your arm, or you were just dead. They were using these bullets that were called shatter bullets, and they would penetrate the skin, but once they hit their target on the other side, they just like exploded or shattered. And if it was anywhere near a bone, it was going to shatter that bone. And so that's why there were so many amputees. And many men, like at Gettysburg, 50,000 casualties from the North and the South combined. It wasn't all battlefield casualties in the sense of that, but it was later on. Well, they all were battlefield casualties because they either died there on the battlefield or they died sometime later. The field hospitals, you know, they were not clean. They were not sanitary. A lot of men died of disease. It was just an incredible time. And over 600,000 men between the North and South in a matter of 5 years died in that war. So that just goes to show you, you know, how tragic and how terrible it all was. And Henry's son did join in September, and in November he received a letter saying that he had been critically wounded there in a campaign of Minersfield. I can't remember where the campaign was, but he was critically wounded. It wasn't fatally wounded, thank goodness. He did survive, but Henry didn't know all that at the time that he wrote this, which was in November, a couple of months later, well, right after, or December, right after he found out about his son, and his wife had recently passed away that he had been married to for 18 years, and so he was really in despair. And he had these 3 little girls to raise on his own, and it was just a very bleak and a dark time for Henry as well as our nation. And so I'm going to read this to you because it's a great song. It has much historic significance, but it does apply for today too. You know, we have a lot of people in Syria and around the world, and in Aleppo in particularly, that are really, really, really suffering. And they're living this nightmare as we speak. And I personally don't know what to do about that to help these fellow mankind, humans, our brothers and sisters, other than pray. Really pray for them that there will be peace restored and goodwill on earth towards men. And anyway, I'm going to read this to you, and I hope this comes out well for you and you can understand it. But it is called Christmas Bells. If you want to go back in and you can look it up on Google by Henry Longfellow, you can read the whole poem yourself. I heard the bells on Christmas Day their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And thought how as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day, a voice, a chime, a chant sublime of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then from each black accursed mouth the cannon thundered in the south, and with the sound the carols drowned of peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was as if an earthquake rent the hearthstones of a continent and made forlorn the households born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head, There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the light prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. I hope you enjoyed that. It's a very, very touching hymn to me. We do sing it in our church every year during Christmas time. And knowing the history, it makes it all the more poignant for me and has a deep meaning. And I pray for peace on earth, and I pray for goodwill towards all men. And I will see you later during the week with 2 of my other kids. Thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing.